Hey guys, Adam Retro Moments here, and I'm back in Nagoya after taking a trip to Tokyo and doing some game hunting there. And yeah, I just finished up eating here at the 7-Eleven that you just saw. And today's mission is hardoff. By the way, if you want to see more of the places where I go eat and that kind of stuff, before the game hunting begins, let me know in the comments. Just let me know if you even want to see me walking to the game store. Maybe you just want to see inside the game store and that's it, Let me know how you want to see the video, basically. So yeah, today's mission, hardoff, as I said, and that's a pretty cool traditional house here. Hardoff is right here, just a minute away now, and we should be able to see it. There it is. So this hardoff, I was here about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and it was really one of the best hardoffs that I went to. So many $1 games, and of course you gotta hydrate, if you do your game hunting, make sure to hydrate. Yeah, so I mean, I need some revenge. I need to pick up more games, find more games, so hope you guys are ready. Let's do this. So as you maybe noticed, there is a bookoff in the same building, and you have to actually go through the bookoff to get to the hardoff. And this bookoff, of course, doesn't have any retro games because the hardoff is right above it, and they're pretty much the same company, at least they're collaborating with each other. So yeah, bookoff is for the books, the comics, the media, newer type of games. And I'm sure this hardoff is gonna be stacked with retro games, and it starts here with showcasing some SNES Mini or Super Famicom Mini, of course, and a few items down here to get your heart pumping, because yeah, as you can see, it looks pretty good already, right? Doesn't it? So it starts off with a Super Famicom wall here, and yeah, I think I'm gonna dig into this immediately. And on the back here we got some N64 cartridges. But yeah, let's take a look at the Super Famicom games here. And on the top there, the red one, Snoopy. I rarely see that one actually. It's a pretty good price, $10, I think it looks like a platformer, but it's more like a point-and-click game. Super Chinese World we got there, $3. Super Mario World is $2. Yoshi's Island, $2. Super Mario RPG is just hanging there. And we got Joe and Mac on the Super Famicom, also a little bit harder to find. And of course Famicom games, Pac-Man, Pac-Land it's called even, for $3. And yeah, some Game Boy stuff on the side here too. Super cheap, super bonk. So yeah, if you don't have these classic games, you can easily pick them up for pennies here. But here we have something that is far from a few pennies. We got the showcase with all the good stuff, and hardoff knows that this is the good stuff, and yeah, they want to showcase it a little bit better, to make people like you dream about these games. And yeah, some beautiful titles in here, including Metal Slug for about $230. It's a game that you don't see that often, but of course it's more common on the NEO GEO CD at least. And down here we got two NEO GEO Pocket Colors. They look amazing, great condition, $13,200, that's about $90. And 8,800, that's about $60, which is a great price actually. And then the black PS1 game there, Vib Ribbon, pretty cool music game for the PS1 that I first saw on the Sega Girls channel actually. And then we have Castlevania Symphony of the Night, of course, for a pretty good price, about $20 because it was a best of. But for such a great game, it's an easy pickup, but I already have it, of course. And here we got something cool that you don't see very often. Sega Mark III for 22,000 yen, so about $150. And the NEO GEO AES, the almighty console, for 44,000 yen. It's also a good price, and a Supergrafx can you imagine what you're seeing right now? I'm telling you, this hardoff is stacked with amazing stuff. And of course some PSPs here. And you can see the prices there and do the conversion yourself, I'm pretty sure. But the yen has been really low now, so yeah. The right time to buy these games and consoles are now, apparently. And some Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP, which has the 101 with the brighter screen, but that was actually never released in Japan. So whatever you do, don't come expecting to find one in Japan, because that's gonna be pretty much impossible. But the OG Game Boy is there, of course, and we have a Super Famicom Junior for $1,200, so about $80, pretty amazing. And what is amazing is the Sony official screen for the PS1, PS1 Slim, PS1 Mini. A combo there for 30,000, pretty good price actually, but they got quite expensive fast in the recent years. And some mini consoles here, and beside it we have a PC Engine Shuttle, which has a pretty funny shape, like a spaceship. It's pretty cool actually, I like it. And a Panasonic 3DO laying here as well for a great price. And beside it we have a NEO GEO CD, the front loader actually, which was the first model, and two amazing controllers included. About $184 US, pretty good price, but the loading times are awful, of course. And wow, take a look at this, a gold PS2. I don't think I've seen that before actually. So yeah, I have to take a closer look at that later. And on the top here we got some consoles in box. Very nice Super Famicom in box, looks like. Yeah, no yellowing, the manual is there. And about $50. Yeah, that's a great price. And a lot of Wii U's are still here in Japan, you know. I don't know about US, but in Europe they're actually quite hard to find now, and going up in price, but in Japan you still have them. And some more beautiful games here with the Bomberman games 2 and 3 for $13 each, and some more consoles down here. We got some Super Famicom consoles, a little bit of yellowing going on, but not that much in my opinion, and you can get them for about $20, which is pretty crazy. So worth it, you know. And Mario and Wario game, point and click game with the mouse included, only released in Japan, pretty cool. And an AV Famicom, of course, which I prefer to the original model that is laying beside it there. And some GameCubes in various prices, wow, everything from 4,900 yen to 11,000, interesting. I guess it all depends on condition and model, you know. But the showcase is not over, because we got one more glass case here filled with games. And wow, take a look at this. They stacked so many games in here. And let's start on the left here. I see Mother 2 for about 4,900 yen, so about $33. And Thunder Force 4, 11,000 yen. That's a pretty cool series. And we also got number 3 here for 7,700. F-Zero Climax for the GBA down to the left. And wow, Rockman 6, pretty amazing. And yeah, there are so many games that I would like to have, and I'm sure you would like to have them as well. But we'll see what I'll be buying this time around. I'm glad that this hardoff is kind of close to where I'm staying at least. And some Dragon Quest in here, some Wii U titles and some PS2 titles that you don't see that often. We got Panzer Front down here, which is a pretty good price at 27, you know, pretty much $20, less than $20, you know. Some cool PS1 games there, and Koreon for PC Engine I noticed in there. We got some Neo Geo CD games and PC Engine, Street Fighter 2 there, and Super Street Fighter in the corner there for Super Famicom. And we got Super Mario Land 2 there for about $14-15, complete in box, great condition of course, and Kirby Air Ride Pretty cool game, about $50–$55 for that. Way cheaper than you see in US and Europe. And yeah, some more amazing games here. And oh, there we have Kid Dracula for 2,200. That's a game that I've been looking for, so yeah, we'll see. I might pick that later. And Super Ghosts and Ghosts, pretty cool artwork on that, love that one. And Super Bomberman 4, I feel like that's pretty common, but they still want to highlight that, you know, it's a pretty popular game in Japan. And yeah, I guess that's about it, you know. We could have spent a lot more time in the showcase, but you know, we gotta go on with the video, and I can always go back to this hardoff and you know, check it out some more. But let's take a look at the Super Famicom complete in box corner here. So just a showcase on all the games. We got the Wild Tracks here, which has a Super FX chip inside of it, and looks pretty cool, you know, just like Star Fox for the SNES or Super Famicom. And that's a pretty cool game. Not sure what game that is actually. And Little Master, looks like an RPG game, only released in Japan, of course. So many RPG games for the Super Famicom that never left the country, you know. And there we have Star Fox, and we also have A Link to the Past, which is just 2,700 yen, which is less than 15 bucks, you know. You know, it's even worth it just to have it in the shelf, even if you can't play it, you know. But it's a game that has to be played. And Kirby Superstar Deluxe with wooden artwork in very good condition. And this is also a game that I feel like I need to have that I don't have. You know, it was released pretty late for the system, looks pretty good. And yeah, it's a top-notch platformer, pretty much. Going into the GBA games, we have Mario vs. Donkey Kong that I actually picked up at the thrift store with Curtis. But yeah, it also got a remake on the Nintendo Switch, I believe, with better graphics and some enhanced gameplay, I guess you could say. And some PC games, I think that was. Going to the other side here, we have a lot of PS1 games, it seems like, and some Neo Geo CD games on the top here. Let's start with that. And yeah, we got Art of Fighting 2, pretty common, also for the AES common, and the Samurai Showdown 1. And yeah, Fatal Fury Special, which is awesome, Fatal Fury 3, and the Real Bout 1, I love that game. And some Saturn games, and oh, let's see that I don't want anything to fall here. Let's see, Saturn, do we have anything interesting here? A lot of FMV games for the Saturn, you know, and it's a system that I haven't really digged into yet, but definitely looking to do that. I know that Saturn has some awesome gems, and we got the Neon Genesis Evangelion here. I think it's an FMV game. But taking a look at the amazing wall here of PS1 games and PS2 games and PSP down there. But let's start with PS1, Wild Arms 2 that you can get for pennies in here. And the Clock Tower, that's a cool one, which was also released on the Super Famicom, and I think that's the second one that was released. And here is a game that I can't recommend enough, Metal Gear Solid Integral. That was their last release, only released in Japan. It has English and also the VR missions. And ooh, here we have Einhander, which is a pretty cool shooter from Squaresoft. I've been looking for this game, and yeah, I think I actually have to come back to that and maybe pick it up. It's a game that I've seen just rise in price so much over the years, and I never got around to picking it up. And we got Ridge Racer Revolution, and what else? Final Fantasy, classic stuff, you know, that you need to have for the system. RPG in masterclass, pretty much. And some Wii games down here, and some DS, and of course another huge wall with PlayStation, but 2 this time around, and PlayStation 3, less games of PlayStation 3, yeah. And the PC Engine, we got on the side here a few titles, so let's take a look at them. I do have a PC Engine console. I'm definitely looking to get some titles that have been recommended. And let's see if I can pull this one out. Alright, so I'm pretty much looking for some of the best shooters for the PC Engine. We're talking about Download and Final Soldier, Soldier Blade, and those kinds of fast shoot 'em up games. But yeah, it doesn't seem like we have a soccer game there. Not sure how good that is nowadays, but who knows. And the Dreamcast, we got not that many Dreamcast games, but House of the Dead is here with a cracked case and some anime games. And let's see what else. Nope. That's about it for Dreamcast games. And as you can see, Sega games, I've said it before and I say it again, Sega games are really disappearing from Japan, so if you have a collection, you should definitely be satisfied with what you have. And yeah, consider yourself lucky if you find a collection that you bought from someone or something like that, because yeah, Sega games are hard to find nowadays. And here's the counter, the cashier, and we are going to check out the corner down here because this is the junk section, everybody. And the first thing that I see is an OG Xbox, 2 of them even, for yeah, less than $10, but also some PSPs here with some issues with the screen, and these Pokemon Pikachu Pokemon Mini I think it's called. And on the top here we got a Super Scope that is of course untested because yeah, it's kind of hard to find CRTs in Japan actually, and I assume that hardoff doesn't have any CRTs laying around here, so yeah, they automatically go into the junk section for a cheap price. And this is pretty cool. We got the PSX, which I believe is a system that plays both PS1 and PS2 games, NTSC-J only however. But there is a CD and DVD burner inside of this console, so I'm sure there are ways to get around the region somehow. It's very cool looking, it's very heavy as well. I was actually surprised about how heavy it actually is. And the price is 5,500, and it seems like the CD, the disk drive isn't working properly, but a lot of outputs there with the S-video and RGB, so yeah, it's something that I would like to have, but not sure if I could get that. It's way too heavy and way too big, so yeah, we'll see. And some cool arcade sticks down here. A horror stick for Sega Saturn. They were also released for the Neo Geo and Super Famicom, you know, with the same shape and same kind of buttons, but specified for different consoles in different colors and so on. The junk section for Famicom games. And let's see, are there anything worth picking up here? Seems like there are baseball games and you know, the kind of stuff that no one actually wants to get, so that's why they're here, but they're still $1, you know. And Super Famicom games, we got a little bit more of that. Derby Stallion, of course, the horse racing game, not sure if you've seen it, but they're always in the junk section. I don't think I ever went to a junk section and there wasn't Derby Stallion in there. They're always there. And if you've been to Japan and done a lot of game hunting, you know that you will find Derby Stallion in here. But we got Donkey Kong Country. That's a nice one for $1, you know. It's an obvious pickup if you don't have it. I have a few copies already, so yeah, I don't really need another one. But you know, if you came here and you need an awesome game for $1, you know, it's an obvious pickup. N64, we got Pokemon Stadium, DK64, and yeah, Super Smash Bros, I believe, and Nagano Winter Olympics, Mario Tennis is laying there. Yeah, I mean, N64 is still super cheap in Japan, even with the boxes. And if you don't believe me, you can actually check out the channel 4am Laundry. He's going for a complete set of Japanese N64 games. But here we have a dance game from Konami. I don't know, I feel like when I see Konami and Capcom, I just gotta check it out and see what it is, you know, even if it's a dance game, you know. But another Super Scope for pennies, of course, and yeah, Wii balance board there, Wii Fit. Maybe that's not something that most people are coming here to pick up though, but we got the Game Boy section, and Super Mario Land, of course, and Pokemon Pinball. I might pick up that actually, because it's a game that is pretty cool. And you put in a battery and you can, I think it has some kind of motion sensor or something like that in it. But let's see, do we have any other cool games under here? I don't think so actually. We got Dr. Mario in there. But yeah, most of the games are $1 each, even less than $1 at this point, I guess. But you know, there's so much shovelware, games that aren't really, you know, worth playing nowadays, I guess. Feels harsh to say that, but you always pick out the good games, the fighters, the platformers, the shooters, you know. I feel like most retro gamers, we actually want to play the same stuff and we want to collect the same stuff, which is kind of interesting, because that means that the game is still fun to play regardless of the time, you know. Going further here, we have some Saturn games and PS1 games, if I can even pick them up, but we have Virtua Fighters Remix for $1, less than $1, which is, yeah, it seems like a game that I should have in the collection maybe, so maybe I'll pick it up. And let's see, Star Ocean, the second story, you know, for $1 here. And Gunbarl, or Point Blank as it's called in the West. An awesome light gun game that I do own, of course, already. Gotta love the light gun games for the PS1 and PS2. And about PS2, here we have the PS2 section for the junk. Let's see if I can see any interesting titles here. Not sure what that is. Some kind of anime game. And PS2 has such a huge library that feels like another thing to dive into at one point, but you know, so many cool exclusive PS2 games that I haven't really played or don't really know about. And a smaller section of PSP and PS3 down here. But yeah, I'm gonna check around here without the camera and buy some games now. So I decided to pick up Einhander and Kid Dracula, but I'm definitely coming back here for more. So let's start with Einhander, which is a shoot-em-up game made by Squaresoft and published by Sony Computer Entertainment in '97 in Japan, and the rest of the world in '98. So the story of the game is actually based on Greek mythology and set in a fictional future between a war, Earth and Moon, and the player is basically part of the Moon's forces and must invade enemy territories to gather reconnaissance and enemy weapons. So the music in the game is heavily techno-based, trance style, I would say. A very cool soundtrack that was also released, you know, in Japan as a music disc. And if you're into this type of electronic music, I would say that the game is worth playing only for that. And what is also cool about this game is that most shooters around this time were sprite-based and not 3D-based like this. So Squaresoft took a chance with making this in 2.5D, as most of the people out there would call it. And that allowed the gameplay to be more immersive for the players with different camera angles and so on. And yeah, this is definitely a game that I would recommend to play nowadays. And the second game, Kid Dracula, or as it's called in Japan, Akumajo Special Buku Dracula-kun, is a game that is released by Konami in 1990 for the Famicom. And it's a Japan-only game, as most of you know, but it did get a re-release on the Castlevania Anniversary Collection that was released in 2019 for the Switch. And this is a platform game that is very similar to the Castlevania games, of course. It's pretty much a spin-off. So the plot of the game is basically that the self-proclaimed Demon King, Kid Dracula, has awoken from a long sleep only to discover that the demon Galamoth has challenged him. Swiping his father's cape, is up to Kid Dracula to set out on an adventure to destroy monster and retake his throne. And I believe they also made a mobile version for this back in 2006, which is pretty cool. But I mean, that was also only released in Japan, of course. And I should also mention that there was a Game Boy version released in 1993 that you actually saw me picking up at another hardoff a few months ago. Fantastic platform game, and yeah, if you love Castlevania games, you should definitely check it out. It's a bit different, but you will still feel right at home.